Hi folks, it's Editing Mike here, and I wanted to offer some corrections to some things that I mentioned in my December video that were not necessarily accurate. This is a very normal thing that I do all the time. This is our monthly corrections video, a thing that we always do. So I made a video that was about how to get into Critical Role for the first time, and I really didn't mention Exandria Unlimited, the main miniseries of Exandria Unlimited, or Exandria Unlimited Kymel, both of which were run by Abria Iyengar. Some people pointed out that they felt like those are good starting points as well. The reason I didn't mention those is because I really do consider those to be part of Campaign 3. The first Exandria Unlimited miniseries features characters that lead into Campaign 3. The second one happens in the middle of Campaign, well, not in the middle, but during Campaign 3, and characters from that, from that campaign go to and from Kymel. So it really does feel like it's part of that discrete story. I probably could have clarified that. Talking about Mighty Nine, what I didn't mention is that there's another form of recap for the Mighty Nine, which is these short little animated segments that recap a few episodes at a time. And those were done, years ago, back before they had a full animation show for the Mighty Nine, which is why I didn't suggest it. I think if you want to experience the story of the Mighty Nine in a truncated animated form, the new cartoon is a much better way to do that because you get all of the emotion and all the fantastic stories. I do think it's worth checking out the Critical Role animated little segments that recap the Mighty Nine. I think they're fun, but they are really only something you can watch either if you're trying to catch up with the live stream and you don't care about the animated show, which I can't think who that would be, or if you've already seen the animated show, if you've already seen the campaign, and you just want to see how they summarized it. It's sort of like the best way I would describe it. At this point, it is made somewhat irrelevant by the fact that there is now an actual Amazon Prime cartoon adapting these stories. But it is worth mentioning. The big one I didn't mention is Critical Role Abridged, which is it's a series that's ongoing right now as of recording, where they are taking episodes of Campaign 3, and this is the main reason I didn't recommend it, is because, again, I didn't suggest you start with Campaign 3, but if you wanted to catch up with Campaign 3 in a faster way, they are trying to condense those episodes down from 4 hours down to 1.5, 2 hours, trying to basically give you only the highlights, a little more tightly edited, a little bit more. It's not quite as heavily edited as something like Dimension 20, and I do think it's inspired by something like Dimension 20, which is it's got a shorter runtime, and it is, it cuts out a little bit more of the dead air or more of the conversations that don't lead anywhere. But I, again, don't recommend you start with Campaign 3 if you're coming to Critical Role for the first time. Some people in the comments did say that they have done that, and there was no problem for them. I'm very happy for them. I think it is a difficult way to get into the show, especially when there are better ways now. But if you are trying to catch up with Campaign 3, Critical Role Abridged is a fun approach. I don't really like Critical Role Abridged because if I'm going to watch Critical Role, I want to really experience all of it. I'm too much I can't allow myself to only watch the highlights. But if you can, Critical Role Abridged is a fantastic way to do so. And the rest of my corrections are for my 5-room dungeon video. I do recommend you stick with this because I think there's some really important details even if you didn't happen to catch that video. One thing is, some people were pointing out that you should sort of foreshadow the fact that there's going to be this dragon that was this major significant force that sort of earned this Shield Maiden her name, is that she slayed this particularly legendary dragon. And that sort of foreshadows the fact that his ghost has sort of been reanimated by this curse and has manifested from her shield that was made from his scales. This is actually something that I did have in my notes, is that there was going to be a mural on either the first or second floor that would give some, depict the battle that she fought against the dragon and sort of foreshadow that in that way. I just didn't mention it in the video for some reason. Didn't actually make it into my script. But that is sort of something I want to do with that dungeon, is make sure you're foreshadowing the bad guy and the evil dragon in that way. Some people also seem to think that, I'm sure this has to do with the fact that shadow dragons are not just literal shadows, right? There's some sort of semi-corporeal beings, I'm sure, in D&D. I think of them as very much non-corporeal. They are shadow or smoke or something like that. But some people had this idea in their heads that basically there's this patch of scales that grew out into a larger dragon, and that's not what I was imagining at all. I basically imagined that this shadow seeped out of the shield and manifested into this ghost. Could have clarified that a little bit more in the video. I promised Oddwick in a previous video that I was going to make a few more videos in December than I did. One of those was going to be Critical Role Demystified episode 85, A Bard's Lament. Unfortunately, that did not wind up being possible. Everybody in my house got violently ill for the month of December, so there are a couple of videos, one in particular, that I really wanted to get out in December that just did not wind up being possible. Videos that I think are only going to work if they come out in December, but I still have to put them out, and just was not able to get them done in that month. You will see them very soon, and Bard's Lament will also be out before the end of January. The last correction I have is that the last video I made in December ended with a title card that said "To Be Continued." That shouldn't have been there. That was a typo. That video should have ended like this.
Where the fuck is Super Geek Mike?